Hey guys, welcome back to AF Farms and welcome back to Elm Creek. So in today's video, we're just going to be covering what I feel are the best settings for new players to the Farming Simulator 22 franchise. So these are console specific, particularly PS5. However, if you're on PC, these settings will essentially be the same. So you can apply them to your game. It doesn't matter what platform you're playing on. Alright, so why you'd want to change the base game settings and how do you do it? Why would you consider doing it? So let's just jump into the menu quickly. So I've already started a new game here. So some of these settings are already changed. So let's basically go through each one and have a quick discussion about it. So timescale, set that to real time. So the reason why you want to set this to real time is to basically take advantage of the full in-game day. So if I just back out of here, top left-hand corner, you can see our time up the top. So it's currently 9:22 in the morning. We've got a little play button and a 1 next to it. So that means we are on, so 1 minute in real life time is 1 minute in game. So effectively what that allows you to do is if you've got multiple jobs on the go on the farm that day, so contracts, harvesting, cutting down trees, whatever it might be, you can basically take advantage of all the jobs that you can do in that day. And then you can use the sleep trigger, which is the farmhouse, to fast forward to the next day. So the reason why you'd want to use real-time scale as opposed to, say, let's go 360 speed, is you can see how quickly the game speed passes. So if you've got a lot of jobs on the go, basically what will happen is the day will go through quicker, which may be how you want to play, but in most cases, I'm just going to change that back to real time. I find it's best to stick to the real-time scale. Just allows you to do what you need to do on the day without having to worry about running out of daylight, because that can become a concern down the track. So say you've got harvest to do and then you end up harvesting at night and it's not as desirable of a time to be farming because you can't see as well. So just as an example. So that's a quick little tip about the time scale. Economic difficulty, leave that to easy. I mean, it's got 3 settings: normal, hard, and easy. Easy gives you the best price. Hard gives you the worst prices. So this is for your... So if we go hard economy and then go into our prices menu, you can see wheat has got a peak price at Goldcrest Valley of $315. Whereas now if we change that back to easy, let's go back to the same menu. The price is now effectively almost tripled. So it just makes you able to make money a lot easier, which is great for new players, especially early on in the game, because it can be quite hard to make money even on easy settings. So that's that one. All right, moving down. So traffic on or off, this is up to you. I like to have traffic on just for the immersion. I mean, they do get in the way sometimes, but you can easily turn this off or change it at any stage. Seasonal growth you want to leave off, so set that to no. So basically what you do, if you turn that on, what will happen is you'll have a growth calendar, or crop calendar as they refer to it in-game, pop up here. And you can only plant and harvest with the seasons, just like in real life. So basically it limits when you can plant, when you can harvest, which is good for a simulation aspect and more of an authentic farming experience. However, it does limit your ability to basically plant, harvest, repeat, and get that cycle of crops going back and forth, which has a shorter gameplay loop with seasons off, which allows you to make more money quicker. Okay, but once again, it just depends on how you want to play the game. But if you're a new player, start with seasons off and then introduce seasons later, just so you get your head around what you need to do in the rest of the game. You can also pause it and turn it off altogether. So we're just going to leave that off. Days per month. So what this does is basically you can have it set to up to 28 days. So effectively, if I change this to 28 days, back out to the menu, it will come up on the top right hand corner of the map, day 1 July. Then if we sleep, it'll go day 2. So it's like effectively like having a real life calendar. So it just means that you stay in the month for longer, and the seasonal change, if you've got that turned on, won't take effect for over a longer period. Now you can dial this down to however many days you want. I just recommend 1 day, but honestly, it really doesn't matter. It only really matters the days per month setting, if and when you're playing with seasons, because that determines your monthly cycle based on how many days you've got set here. So one in-game day, as we can see here, equals 1 month. So if I go ahead and sleep here, just to demonstrate a point, we've started in July. This is effectively speeding us up through 1 day of gameplay. And now we should wake up in August. So you can see there, 9 o'clock August. So now we've just moved through another month. And I'm getting a whole bunch of warnings about my chicken coop not having enough room for egg pellets. But that's just what happens when you skip through a game day. Okay, fixed visual month. So what this does is it basically determines, so let's go December. So you can see the trees have changed to make it look like winter. Also the lighting has changed to make it more dark and wintry. So this will be a good example if we look at this tree here. So if we change the, oh, what did I just change there? Yeah, okay, fixed visual month, let's go to March, which should be spring. So you can see the leaves have now returned. The lighting is a little bit different. So now we're sort of emulating spring. So let's go into this one again. Let's go for summer, which I believe is in July in the Northern Hemisphere. So not a huge amount of difference there. But I think the lighting changes slightly in summer and some of the leaves start to change texture. And then let's go to fall, which is going to be, say, October, September, October. You can definitely see the leaves are starting to die. All the deciduous trees, so the trees that you lose their leaves, will change colour. And the landscape starts to change. Once again, lighting changes a little bit as well, but it looks pretty cool. And then we're back to December. So there you go. That's what that does. Let's go put it back to summer. All right, snow. So snow on or off basically just allows snow to fall in winter. So you can leave that on or off. Recommend you leave that off if you're a new player, just because then you don't have to deal with it, because it can be hard to get, to and from locations on the road because it's slippery, etc. You need to salt the road or speed up time to get through winter. But just adds another visual layer of interest to the game. So it's up to you whether you're not. And it only affects you in the winter months. So obviously because snow is in winter. But once again, it can be turned off. It's just a visual display. All right, crop destruction on or off. So recommend having crop destruction off. So basically what that means is, if we've got some crops here, which we do, I'm not going to drive over these and destroy them, but basically if you drive a vehicle over this field with crop destruction on, it'll damage where you've driven and the crop won't grow. So you basically reduce your yield. So as a new player, have that turned off. So just if you accidentally drive over the field, or you just want to cut across fields for sake of saving time in transit, you're not going to destroy the crop. Periodic plowing, turn that off. So that basically just removes the need to plow your fields. So if you don't plow your fields, you get a yield penalty. However, if you've got it turned off, you don't get that penalty, and then it just reduces a step in the farming process. Same with Fieldstone, turn that off. Fieldstone basically can be collected and sold. However, what you get out of it in terms of profit is not very high, and it also damages your machinery quite a bit. So recommend leaving that off. Lime required off as well. That way you don't have to invest in lime spreading equipment, lime itself, and obviously labour costs or time costs from you having to put lime down. So once again, if you don't do lime and lime is required, you get a yield penalty, so you don't get as much crop harvest out of a field. Same with weeds. Once again, you need a weeder, you need herbicide. It's just another field step. So it's all about turning off what's not required for you as the player to action in game, yet still maintain a high yield out of this crop. So you can see here the yield bonus is 73%. So it means that I need to fertilize again, and that'll probably get me up to about 90. So it basically just means that I'll be getting slightly reduced maximum yield. However, if I had weeds on, I'd have to deal with the weeds. If I hadn't ploughed or put lime down, that's going to affect my yield as well. So it's best just to turn those things off initially, and then you can start to introduce these back in after you've become a little bit more experienced and you want to enhance your simulation of the game. So you may just choose to have lime on and nothing else. You may just choose to deal with weeds and nothing else. It just depends on what you want to do as the player. So you get to choose how you set the game up. But for a new player, turn these off, get your bearings in the game, and then decide whether you want to turn them on. Either all of them, some of them, or none of them. So I recommend having them off anyway. Just that's how I usually play my games, particularly in the early stages. Vehicle control, so you can just change the dirt. Automatic engine start basically means when you jump into a tractor, the engine will start straight away, as opposed to you manually having to start the vehicle. So if I jump into here, turn that off. So I've got to stop the engine. So now if I jump in, try to drive, it says please start engine first. I've got to start the engine manually. And now if I get out the vehicle, you can hear that it's still running. So there are scenarios where that's useful to have a vehicle at a PTO. So a PTO is basically the power takeoff, which runs implements. You can see it at the back there. So it is advantageous in some scenarios to have the engine still running for certain jobs and certain applications, but that's for another video. But that's just what that setting does. Stop go braking, that's just automatic engine braking essentially. Trailer fill limit, so in the trailer menu, so if we go and have a look at some trailers, you can see there it's got a 1.6 cubic meter capacity. I think that weight is 6 tons. So I can either take 12.1 cubic meters or 6 tons. So let's go back to our first example, the Salak ANS 1900. You've got a volume limit, which is the 1.6 meters cubed, or the 350 kilos. So obviously different crops have different densities. So some crops may have more volume but are lighter than, say, something that's more dense and heavier. So therefore the trailer fill limit limits you either by volume or by weight. So it's just another simulation aspect that you want to consider. So take, for example, this trailer. If I try to fill it all the way on the fill limit by weight, which I believe is, yeah, allowed weight is reached. So it depends on what you're carting. If you've got this turned on, you may not be able to get a full load, so to speak. Can't even see in there, but it won't fill all the way to the top, essentially. It'll just fill to the weight limit, not the volume limit, okay? So that's just something to remember. I think by default that's left on, so you may want to turn that off. Fuel usage, that's pretty straightforward. It just dictates how much fuel your tractors are going to use. AI workers, I have all these set to buy. So AI worker refuel fuel. So whenever you hire a worker, that worker automatically replenishes the fuel that it uses as it does its job. Same with the seeder, same with the fertilizer, same with the slurry, same with the manure. So if you want to turn that off, you can. Just realize that whenever you're hiring a worker, they won't replenish the fuel automatically. You have to go back to the fuel station and refuel it. Same with the seeds and fertilizer and slurry. They all run out over time. So it's just something to consider. And they also charge you for it, okay? So the fertilizer automatically gets purchased. Same with the seed, same with the slurry, same with the manure. Where you'd want to probably turn this off is with slurry and manure. So if you've got cows, for example, and they're producing slurry, you want to turn slurry off. So if you're using your own slurry for the fertilization, basically what if you have it left to buy, the worker will buy slurry from the game and not use your supply of slurry. So if you want to use your supply, you've got to turn that off. So basically you fill your slurry tanker up, fertilize, it empties, you come back, you refill, and you go again. But if you've got the buy function turned on, it'll just keep buying the slurry over and over, and that goes for all of these. So just be something to be aware of there. General settings, so help window on, so that's basically top left corner of the controls. So I recommend you leave that on as a new player. Colorblind mode, which is the next one. It just changes the color of the PDA. So if you're colorblind, throw that on. Or if you like the different colors, throw it on. It doesn't really matter. It just changes the in-game colors slightly. Interactive zone markers. So they are... let's go to... that's not it there. Where's a good example? Let's cruise down here quickly. Here we go. So at the bakery, so the black and yellow lines, that's the interactive zone marker. So that's basically where, in this case, pallets of goods from the bakery will appear. So the little spanner icon is basically a menu interaction point. The interactive zone markers here show you where the pallets will spawn. And then this little trigger here, the trailer icon, shows you where you've got to dump your product or deliver your product in the first place. So this is where you take raw materials, bakery would turn it into something, and then they would appear here. So that is interactive zone markers and info trigger. Field info is bottom right. So basically whenever you stand in a field or adjacent to a field, it tells you who owns the crop, what's growing, what state of growth it's in, whether it's growing or ready to harvest, the yield bonus, with how much it's fertilized, and what field step is required. So you can easily turn that off. So you can see there. I'll turn that back on. So it's up to you. If you have this on or not, I recommend leaving them on as a new player, just so you know where your interaction points are, so you don't miss them. Units, so you can change it to dollar, pounds, I think euros, so that doesn't really make any difference. It just changes the currency. Kilometers or miles, depending on your metric system or imperial. Same with Celsius, Fahrenheit, hectares, acres, so different terminology for different parts of the world. The radio settings, pretty straightforward. Camera, basically just leave them as is, and input controls basically as is, but if you want to change your, say, gear shift mode to automatic or manual, if you're using a steering wheel or something like that, you can play around with some of these settings. Switch to trains. Automatic harvester, wood harvester, automatic cutting on. I think that's for tree harvesters only. And then you've got your sound settings there. So there you have it. Quick little tip video on beginner settings for new players. So like I said, you can have any number of these turned on any which way you like. Just depends on your personal preference, how you want to play the game in the long term. But basically, if you're new to the series, it's a good idea to make the game as easy as possible for yourself, so you can have the best possible chance of enjoying the game. As you get more confident, you can turn on the different simulation aspects that you want to play with, and then sort of develop your own play style as you go through. So thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed the content. Leave a like on the video if you like it. Comment if you've got any questions. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next one. Bye for now.